Greetings, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. You are now tuned into the podcast of Journey of a Healed Success Stepper. I'm Dr. Dorina Shine, and I'm so grateful that you're here with me today. Today, I want to talk to you exclusively about a question that was asked regarding what is a humiliation ritual. So we're going to go into that. We're going to look at the continuum. We're going to go from parenting all the way to people who are, in the elite status and how they look at society in general. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And if you find any of this information helpful to you, please put something in the comment box below, or possibly even share the video or like the video. We are live here on Facebook, and we'll be going over to upload to YouTube. So that will be on our YouTube channel on all social media platforms, Dr. Dorina Shine. So welcome and thank you all for being here. So getting right into the topic, when you talk about humiliation rituals started and began in biblical times. Spare the rod, spoil the child. So let's take it from a parenting perspective. As a parent, the first thing you want to do is train your child. I look at myself and I go hindsight and I look back over my life and I say to myself, okay, did I do the correct parenting from the onset, from the beginning? The correct parenting for me was sit down, talk to the child, tell them the pros and cons of the action. Don't put your hands on the stove because it'll do this, it'll do that. And then you have the same conversation about the stove over and over again. The guardian must now guardian. Okay, because if they don't guardian and step in, what's going to happen is that child is going to get older and feel that they can continue to put their hands on that burning stove, and then the guardian is going to be charged with neglect, child abuse, endangerment, etc., etc. So move it on forward, okay? When you look at humiliation, the thing that I want to share is that humiliation can be looked at in two different ways. One is a proactive approach, meaning that if you can't get through to your children at a certain point in their lives, say they're teenagers now, you can't get through to them, your parenting is going to either be proactive or reactive. So in certain circumstances, you have an internal and external factor within what the child is going to do. Internal mean, I've been taught this, it's intrinsically a part of my character. I've been culturally sensitized that this is what my family suggests or expects from me. Or it's external. Your friends are doing it, so you're going to go out there, you're going to hang out with them, and the next thing you know, everything that's intrinsic is gone out the window. Well, see, parenting skills are going to start there. Either the parenting skills are going to be there or they're not going to be there. So when you have a child that's continually rebelling against the parental guidance, which is not difficult, it's just doing what should be done, what's best for the family, what's best for the children, what's best for the parent. A child don't always think about what's best for their parent. And that's the reason why they're telling them, don't put your hands on the stove. Don't run out in the street. Don't steal the car. Don't, sneak out the house late at night. But these parental structures start in the humiliation rituals, and then they extend themselves on. So as a child becomes more and more rebellious, what happens is the parent has to up the ante. The parent has to now become more incentive to the child, because if not, the parent is going to lose all ultimate control. I wouldn't call that humiliation ritual in its unsuccessful narration. I would call that spare the rod, spoil the child. You have to be in control of the household. If you are the guardian, you are responsible. So letting a child just get away with whatever now puts you into the child humiliates the parent. But if you put down your foot, if you hold boundaries within your household, now either the parenting is going to be there or it's not. The child may not want to, maybe they're rebellious just in their heart. Maybe that's their intrinsic value, to be rebellious. What does a parent do at that point? Humiliation rituals can only get you so far when you're trying to be proactive. Now, to be reactive, now puts it into a war in your home. Now there is consistent conflict. Now there is the internal factor that is rebelling against the external forces that are outside of your proximity. So your child then becomes a product of their environment. And then there's not too much that can be done. So I know my experience in humiliation rituals as a child, it was a religious thing. And it was, you know, wherever you act up is where you're getting dealt with. And I learned that humiliation was not a good thing. I learned that I didn't want to be humiliated. So I followed where I was supposed to go. Thank God my parent always taught me to do the right thing. They didn't tell me to go out here and rob a bank. They didn't teach me how to write bad checks. They didn't teach me how to rob people. They didn't teach me the negatives of parental control. They taught me the positives. Thank the Most High. And I tried to do the same as well. But sometimes when those external factors are there, there's nothing you can do. You just have to accept it, embrace it, and just know what you're going to do to protect yourself. That's what you do. So exceeding it beyond parental. Going beyond parental. Now people have humiliation rituals where they go out and they tell their friends all the bad, horrific things that they've experienced in life. You have a lot of narcissists that grow up in the environment of individuals who have been humiliated. And so now it's a get back. I want to get you back. Okay. So say a child wants to get back at their parent. The things that they do is they go out there and they spread all types of lies, all types of, you know, falsities and different things like that based on the way that they see it. So a little bit of it may be true. You know, I was really constantly controlled by my parents. You know, I couldn't make decisions for myself. And then because of that, you know, it tainted me. So, you know, you can string along the truth for a minute, and then you can go into your own destiny, however you see your life, right? But when you sit back and you look at how and why things were done, and you really hold yourself accountable, what's going to happen in that essence is you're going to look at your flaws. You're going to be able to make the narration, not just, okay, well, I did it. Oh, yeah, I was part of that. No, you're working on that as you're talking about being a part of it, as being part of the conflict. It's not always one-sided. So with that being said, you move into humiliation rituals where their friends come together and they smear campaign what they're going to say, do, or respond when it comes down to the guardian. So now the guardian is being inflicted based upon the rules and guidelines that they put down in their home as a guardian. Okay, you're not supposed to have different types of outside people in your property because that is your safe haven. Everybody's not supposed to be in your location. They know too much, and that's when a lot of devastation takes place, right? So knowing who you are and knowing why you are how you are, very, very, what word is it? Culturally connected to your internal relationship with your family and intimate friends. That is where people can vibe off of that. Okay. But when you have a child who refuses to listen to the rules, then you humiliate them one time, kind of like just sitting down and having a conversation is an embarrassing moment, putting them into the position of what is wrong. But then the humiliation comes when, say, they're in church or they're in school, and they're doing certain things that they know that they shouldn't do. And then now you humiliate them in front of the classmates, in front of the principal, in front of the school. I know that's how it was when I grew up. Wherever I acted up is where I got dealt with. There was no public humiliation, because it was public shaming, because they wanted me to know that you haven't been taught like this. So your external forces, outside influences, are creating this humiliation in your world. And it's so weird that now I think about it. Why would the child continue to go to the external forces instead of realizing that, you know what, I did have a part to play in that. You know what? Yeah, you're right. Because that's how I felt when I finally got humiliated in school, in church. That's when I realized, like, I don't want this humiliation. It didn't take me to have to continue to one-up my guardian in order for me to feel inferior or impacted by what I'm going to do, because I'm bigger than you. The child thinks I'm the adult. You're the child. That is a twisted mentality in and of itself. And that's where parenting skills begin. Either it's there or it is not there. And of course, if you are running your property and your household the way that you should, your child is not going to go astray unless those external forces are out there influencing their behavior. So that's something I want you to think about. Also, humiliation rituals come in many different forms. Humiliation rituals can also be when a person thinks that they're really good at something, and then that experience helps them to be put front and center. Say social media, say, the implementation of, having to do, like me, a podcast and having to start over. When you already understand, you can compare it to something. Like me, I can compare my social media experience to communicating with over 600,000 viewers. But starting over again now tells me I have a different niche, and I may not be as, ready for, or I may not be as in the platform's audience to where I get my information to the right people. And it may take a little bit of time. But then I go back and I look at, how did I gain 600,000 viewers before? Because I kept going. And that's the key. So that can be a humiliation ritual there. Your numbers may be a humiliation ritual, but your content may be absolutely valuable to someone. Okay? It just takes the right audience to find who you are and what you do. So in that humiliation ritual, some people may get on a platform and they think that they can be, the number one bestseller, the number one singer, the number one model. And then they get put in a pool of individuals who are just as good as them. That's a humiliation ritual there as well. Also, humiliation rituals can go all the way down to, you want to be a part of a club. You want to be a part of a society. You want to be a part of a status. Gang affiliations do it all the time. If you want to be a part of a specific status, then you're going to have to be humiliated in front of those who you are trying to be a part of. That's not having the love of self. You think that these people are going to care about you if they allow you to be humiliated? Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. You are now tuned into the podcast of Journey of a Healed Success Stepper. I'm Dr. Dorina Shine, and you can check me out on all social media platforms on, social media. And we're talking today about humiliation rituals. And to me, humiliation rituals can happen at all times, but it is the ability for you to understand the person who is being humiliated. They must understand how far they want to go. Some people will ride out humiliation until the end of time. Some people will literally see a person going down a path of whatever, success, empowerment, inspiration, motivation, and they will purposely do something to stagnate that person's growth and then put them in the public's eye to make them humiliated so that they can either feel superior because they got away with it, or to kill the ego of the person, or to implement that they couldn't do it, so they don't want anyone else around them doing it, because how dare you go out and do something that everyone else had the opportunity to do and they just didn't do it. Birds of a feather, birds of a feather flock together. Okay. Also, misery loves company. Crab in a bucket mentality is truly real. And so it is up to you to decide what you're going to endure within your humiliation ritual, because everybody's going to be humiliated at one point in life, right? They're definitely going to be humiliated. And so now what you have to do is make the decision. How are you going to handle it? How are you going to motivate yourself to know that throughout this ritual, you're still going to survive. You're still going to thrive. You're still going to motivate yourself. You're still going to empower yourself. No matter how many times you get knocked down, you got to keep getting up. That's where humiliation rituals turn out to be a exclusive success story. Then you become a true success stepper in the game of life. Because life is lifing and everything is a game, right? And if it's all a game, oh well, let's play. So let's play. Also, there was one more thing I wanted to share today specifically. And it happens to do with the downsizing. That internal, external factor is going to make you who you are. So don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to just step out on it. No matter how many times you think you're going to become emotionally driven by a humiliation, or, oh, I'm not going to try that because then if I fail, then I'll be the laughing stock of the community or laughing stock of society. That's the thing about being creative in today's world. You have to get up and you just have to do for yourself. Shout out to Universal Messages over on Facebook. I sat back and I looked at losing social media presence when there were thousands of people in another program, in another process, in another theory of thought that had gained momentum for me over in another location. Shout out to my 1,000 subscriber, 1,000K subscribers over at Universal Messages. You are awesome. And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for Facebook. I'm grateful for the partnership programs. I'm grateful for so many different initiatives that took place. And if you would like to know more about Universal Leadership courses, we are providing those for those people who want to just learn more about the leadership course, morality in business, integrity in personal relationships, influences in community. That program is there specifically for you. It is detailed uniquely for you, and that is available over here at Dr. Dorina Shine. And also the Emotional Healing Solutions program, where you can learn your recovery-based processes by working within yourself. Stop being humiliated by the world. Stop being humiliated by being the laughing stock of your community because everybody's expecting you to behave this way or that way. Get your emotions under check. And there you can find emotional healing solutions in the 12-step program under Dr. Dorina Shine on YouTube, where you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and you will go to the playlist area, and down there you will see my 12 steps. I talk about how my incarceration journey of potentially 32 years helped me to inspire myself to do more, to be more, to have more, to survive and thrive through that, to whereas I only ended up doing 18 months and 41 days. So it is an influence, life is an influencer. And when you realize that if that wasn't enough humiliation and then come back to be a success, I don't know what else is. Success steppers. Also, If you would like to start your own business, you can contact me at Scales to Success LLC. You can join that channel here on Facebook as well. And basically what we do is we give tips and we support new businesses for those who are coming in 2026, new businesses, startup funding, opportunity for leadership and experience is behind you. So join Scales to Success LLC on Facebook. And you can get in contact with me if you would like a one-on-one session, if you would like leadership, ideas and concepts. And I am on the Better Business Bureau website. You can look me up on Facebook. I'm verified. And Dr. Dorina Shine has her credentials. And join Dr. Dorina Shine's own Facebook page as well. And then you can see everything that I'm doing over there. Being a doctor of leadership in the field of education is vitally important to continue to show forth through example. So you got to be very careful who you connect to, who you link to, why you link to them. And there has to be a purpose. It's a purpose-driven life. And every step you take is a success stepper in the game of life. And so if you would like to get in contact with me, you can email me, shinedorina@gmail.com, SHINEDORINA@gmail.com. And put in the subject box what it is you need. If it's the leadership course, the business course, or the emotional healing solutions course, put that in. I'm also working on a global initiative through Intervention and Prevention Act of 2025, where we are working with those individuals who have been covertly prescribed. That means laced or left for dead. And that is my story over on YouTube. Didn't know my name, could not tell what happened. And I was facing 32 years of my life because I had dinner with a neighbor. And in that dinner, there was some hidden emotions within that prevented me from being able to see the red flags. And so I'll teach you the red flags over at Emotional Healing Solutions Program. So join me. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Humiliation is not the end of life. It is where you just deal with the humiliation situation, and then you work to better yourself from that point. Okay? I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.